Yeah, well, Andrew, you had mentioned you referred to yourself as Canada's greatest gamer.
Very well earned.
I'm not saying I'm not refuting it in any way. I just wanted to make sure I got the phrase right. Why do you feel comfortable calling yourself Canada's greatest gamer?
I think it's a factual statement when you own every Garfield Kart world record on Xbox. I don't think like I need to sell it in any way. I think that kind of just explains all of it.
What is Garfield Kart? I'm assuming is it's a kart racer similar to Mario Kart, right?
It is, it is some would say a lesser Mario Kart, some would say better. I don't know who those are, but it's it's a Mario Kart clone.
And how did you become the Canada? How did you become what is it called? Garfield Kart World Tour?
Furious Racing. Garfield Kart Furious Racing.
Garfield Kart Furious Racing.
They made two Jeffs, so it's clearly... It's a big deal.
Why did you buy it?
Because I really wanted to be good at a game that nobody was good at. And I went to the Xbox store, and you know how they have, like, what's the highest selling game? I clicked that, and then I went to the bottom of that, and I saw what was the least selling game. And number 7 was Garfield Kart.
And we should let the listeners know that you are incredibly competitive. Like,
insanely.
There was one time where I had, like, one better time in a Trials HD map than you, and you spent like weeks straight trying to beat it until you finally
spent 100 days beating your run. Every single morning I would do 7 runs of the course, and it took me on the 100th day I finally beat it.
So that unhealthy level of competition and what's maybe the largest chip on a shoulder I've seen in my almost 45 years, that led you to get hyper competitive in whatever the fuck that game is called, Garfield Furious
Kart Furious Racing.
Yeah,
it was my first. The first thing I have there's a Ben-Hur Xbox One game. For some reason, like they made that movie that nobody wanted, nobody saw, and they made a video game for it that was free, and that has a leaderboard, but it's dead. Shockingly, They continued not to support Ben-Hur, the video game. Man. So then I had to go to Garfield Kart, and let me say, it was a very competitive 4 hours to become the greatest Garfield Kart player.
What happened after you broke? Because you texted me and you were like, I now have like the world record in every track on this stupid game. And then like 10 minutes later, you were like, I have an enemy.
Yes, the problem is it started as a joke, but then when you're on top, you don't want to fall off that. So now I'm incredibly serious about my Garfield Kart racing. Like, as soon as I got all the times, someone else started taking times, and I had a heated rivalry with someone that I'm pretty sure was 7.
Well, this podcast is surely the death sentence of your top times. Like, people are going to go out there, they're going to get the game, they're going to knock you off the top of the pedestal.
If this was back then, Gavin, I would have been nervous. I've gone through like 8 rivals. Okay, I'm the top of Lasagna Mountain. I'm not even a little bit worried about it. The game costs like $30. So that's why I've been able to hold it partially, because nobody's dumb enough to spend $30 on a Garfield game. I would welcome all challengers, though. You could try. You can try. You're going to waste your time and money, though.
You're going to get dethroned before we film the next one.
I'm going to retire by the time we film the next one. That's going out on top.
I think my favorite part of this saga was I don't know if he did the same to you, Gavin, but Andrew just kept sending me screenshots of DMs of him talking shit to little kids on Xbox Live and getting into these heated rivalries using Garfield puns to insult people.
It's a serious game.
Do you have any of those exchanges to hand?
It's a lot of when you race against me every day is a Monday, stuff like that. Anything Garfield, Lasagna Mountain. It got heated. I've had 4 or 5 rivals.
I just don't know where this stuff comes from. Like, what made you... You're always doing the weirdest, most interesting stuff that I feel like no one could write.
Agreed, yeah.
Well, what do you mean, like, what started? What do you mean? Like, why am I shit-talking?
Just with everything that you do. No, just like, what made you want to do that?
I don't know. I woke up. I always had a fascination with, like, there's got to be a Michael Jordan of basket weaving, and we just don't know who that is because nobody cares about basket weaving. I just find it interesting, like, people that are, like, insanely talented at something, but also just nobody cares because nobody is aware of it.
Real fast, I just like to say to the basket weaving community that may or may not be listening to this podcast, Andrew's views do not represent the views of myself or possibly Gavin Free. I have deep respect for basket weavers. I have a deep and profound respect for you. Please do not Please do not mobilize the basket weaving lobby against us.
So I was sitting at my desk since the last time we spoke, and there's some stuff happening out my window. There are a bunch of cops, there are a bunch of people. Something had happened outside. And so I kind of walked away for a minute. I was watching from my window, and I saw all these people, a lot of cops, a lot of people, and I noticed this woman with 2 bags. And she, like, kind of walked past the cop, and I thought, that's interesting. This seems, something might be happening here. What's in those bags? It was like a mini investigation. I was like, where's she going? What's she gonna do? So I was watching her, and she walked past the cop. Then she started walking down a little bit, and she went up this little hill. And I could see it's the back of a business, and they have, like, a grass parking lot. I'm like, that's also weird. Is she planning the bags? Like, what's in the bags? What's gonna happen? And she keeps walking a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, she takes her pants down and goes into a deep squat, and I'm now watching this homeless woman pee. That was my day.
Oh my God.
I was shocking. It went from like, is this a mystery? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Oh God, that woman's peeing. That woman's peeing. I didn't want to see this.
What was your reaction?
That was my reaction. Oh God, I didn't want to see this. It was a side profile. I couldn't see anything, but I could see the act. It was not good. I did not anticipate.
This is perfect for something for me. I love this. This is great.
You love a homeless peeing story?
No. It goes right into the peeing perv. Okay. Yeah, no, that's great.
This was not premeditated. This was not a good event in my life. But there's a payoff to this, which is amazing. So I watched the pee, and that was terrible. And so then an hour later, like, an ambulance shows up. And I'm like, well, what's going on now? And so I'm looking at the ambulance, and then I noticed the back of the business door open that the person peed in the line of. And I'm just watching this person with a garbage bag over their head, and they're walking down the steps, and I'm just watching saying, she's going to walk and pee. That woman's going to walk through pee. And she absolutely walked through pee. I felt so bad. It was like watching a horror movie and not being able to yell at the characters. There's nothing I could do to communicate. Don't step through that. She totally
You could have yelled.
Well, well, that'd be weird. What, am I gonna just yell from my balcony? The pee!
Well, yeah,
no way.
What would you have yelled if you'd have had slightly more warning?
I think I just would have yelled pee. I would have yelled, hey, pee, pee.
That wouldn't have helped anyone.
How could I have?
You're not describing anything. You just sound like a madman.
Yeah, but sometimes when you describe, people don't know. There's a lot of people. They're gonna look at me. You think, like, I don't know. I don't think I could have helped. I had like a 5-second window.
I feel like you could have yelled, "That is a massive puddle of piss."
Well, I also didn't know if they'd walk through it. There's a possibility they wouldn't. And
you didn't want to think like you overreacted.
Yeah, and then also, to Jeff's point, I seem super fucking weird. Am I the pee guy? Like, now I'm the pee guy. Like, this was a coincidence that I'm not the pee guy. It happened once. It was a coincidence. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I witnessed it. It was terrible. I felt bad. She probably still doesn't know she walked through pee.
Well, maybe she listens to Face and she's about to find out. And she's going to say, like, oh, those were brand new shoes. I saved up months and months and months for them. They were, like, limited edition, like, Nike SBs, like, I don't know. And they're one of only 300 made. And I just trudged through homeless piss. And if only Andrew had stopped me, he could have saved me the indignity of
I don't think it's
wallowing in urine.
Someone. What would you have said?
Stop!
Well, what, she's gonna know? There's nobody stops. If you're yelling at a crowd of people to stop, I don't think most people stop. I think maybe a few do. I think you'd get lucky at that point.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know what I would do in the moment, but I don't think the moment would happen because I wouldn't be a peeping Andrew from the beginning.
You don't, if there's an ambulance outside your window, you do not peek at the ambulance?
You weren't looking at the ambulance, you were looking at a homeless lady peeing in the back alley.
I didn't know first of all, it's the back of a business, not a back alley. This was a very public area. Second of all, that's not what I wanted. I thought I was getting a mystery, Jeff. I thought this was going to be a good mystery.
You got a mystery and you solved it. The mystery of is Andrew a peeping Tom? Yes.
No.
If you'd have known that, okay, so if you knew that I was about to watch you walk through piss and I didn't say anything and you just walked through all the piss, would you be annoyed at me?
Well, if I said what's the context? Is it just you and I? Is it the same scenario? What is the context of this?
Yeah, so I'm you in your situation. You're
okay.
No, I'm you. You're her. No,
okay.
you're the person who was walking through the piss.
Okay.
And I call you 2 hours later. I'm like, Andrew, you walked through a piss today. And you're like, how do you know? And I'm like, I watched you do it. And you're like, why didn't you warn me? I'll be like, I didn't know what to say.
Yeah, well, I'd never tell the person. If I knew them personally, I would never tell them.
Right, but if I did know you, would you be annoyed that I didn't scream out, watch out for the piss puddle?
I would have said, why didn't you warn me? And then you would have been like me and said, I could, like, what am I supposed to say? And then I would have said, good point. There's nothing. That's just chaos is in motion. You can't stop it. There's too much momentum.
Here's how it would really go. Gavin, hey, Gavin, earlier today, do you remember we were hanging out?
Yeah.
And I waved at you and you came over. You walked through a puddle of a homeless lady's piss.
Oh, I mean, did you wave me over so I would walk through the piss?
100%. I steered you toward the urine.
I don't like you anymore.
I know.
Okay. Goodbye.
Fair enough.
This did, you know what? I didn't expect to get slandered by Jeff, which I should have. That's foolish on my part.
Slandered.
But Jeff, say something slanderous about me. Call me out once again.
Andrew,
face,
I think
face. See what I just did there? I just fucking weaponized our show name against
Yeah, that's genius.
whenever we need to.
Speaking of you, Andrew.
Yeah.
I want to talk about an idea. I mentioned earlier I have an idea for a product, and it centers around you.
Oh, this is horrifying. Considering the last thing you thought I would qualify for, I'm a little nervous.
I'm excited about it. And when I say product, I feel like that's a little disingenuous. I was just trying to be obtuse so that you couldn't follow the thread. I think that you have the makings of... I think that maybe we've all been looking at you the wrong way. And we've been, like Gavin and I, we've been taking you the wrong way. I've always taken you as this like happy-go-lucky, really talented, good-natured, good-hearted, too funny for his own good, too mischievous for his own good kid who kind of practices a chaotic good malevolence upon his own life, but also the people around him, but in an endearing way.
I'm waiting for the turn.
However, I think you have the makings of like let's say like a Krampiss or
what?
What's another evil entity?
Like, I did not expect
boogeyman type creature, right?
Krampiss?
Like Candyman. Think of like a horror movie villain, like like maybe
Hitler.
Well,
no,
I think less.
I really should have blocked that one. That's a regrettable miss.
I wasn't going that way. But yeah, I think more like the thing that people are scared of in the night. And here's why. Here's why.
Okay.
I'm going to take a couple of examples.
Okay.
You told a story about how awkward you are and how socially inept you are. And so you found a guy to cut your hair. And so when he retired and moved to the old folks' home, you just dotingly and awkwardly followed along with him.
That's not exactly how it went, but okay.
It's pretty close.
Sure. Not really.
And
but...
you talk about how you pretend to be interested in football while he pretends to be interested in hockey or golf or whatever it was. Tennis, maybe. And
flip those as well, but that's fine. Continue.
Yeah. And then you talked about another story. I'm just pulling these from the ether. Another story is there was the time when you found all the like hamster traps in your yard. Mm-hmm. And you thought that somebody was performing some sort of a malicious prank or weird thing on you. And then there was the time that you mistakenly sent a package to yourself, but you sent it to an old address. So instead of just going up and knocking on the door, you developed an elaborate plan which required you putting Chinese food flyers all over a neighborhood. And then there was a recent one that you just brought up where you were alerted to looking out the window by an ambulance and flashing sirens, and then you unintentionally, following a mystery, ended up watching a homeless lady go to the bathroom.
Yeah?
Those all sound perfectly rational when told through that lens. But here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, what if we've been looking at you the wrong way? What if you have been unintentionally terrorizing your poor town and island, and you've become like a mythical boogeyman type creature? For instance, You're the kid that the barber was so scared of because he's so intimidated by you and your forceful sports talk. He tried to go the one place a 20-year-old man would not follow him, an old folks home. It's anathema to youth to go to an old folks home. It was the only place he could think of to stay in business and hide, and you still found him. Or maybe the person who lived in that house before you or lived next door was a little boy who had a pet hamster that his dad gave him. And then his dad died in a plane crash. And all he has to remember his dad by is this hamster. And the hamster got out one night, and he's been going and setting traps trying to find his poor hamster that reminds him of his dead dad. And every time you find it, you throw it on the pile or you smash it or you do in some way stop this poor kid from reconnecting with his dead father. Or what if this poor Chinese food restaurant is getting fined by the local authorities because they keep flyering neighborhoods and they don't. And they keep saying, no, it's this Andrew. It's Andrew. It's the name that people whisper in the dark. It's Andrew. And they're like, Andrew doesn't exist. He's not real. What if there's a poor homeless woman who's like, every time I go to the bathroom, there's this pair of eyes staring at me through a window. It's Andrew. What if you are Andrew the boogeyman?
I prefer Andrew from the Block. I think that was a better. I'd rather have that title.
Sure.
I will say I don't necessarily agree with a lot of what you're saying.
That was a torrent.
It was a lot, but to give a little bit of evidence to part of your theory, the guy that cuts my hair, very shaky hands. I don't know if he's like that with everybody. Could be
he's
a
terrifying.
It's that's what I'm saying. I'm adding a little bit of weight to your theory.
So wait, you exclusively see a hairdresser who is incredibly difficult to get to, and his hands shake while he's cutting your hair?
Yeah, because he knows how to cut my hair. It's convenient.
He knows how to cut your hair out of fear because he's scared you're going to kill him.
I don't think that's true, but the handshaking is a little weird.
Coronavirus might have been the best thing to ever happen to that poor man.
That's one way to look at it. I mean, that's a take, I guess. I don't really know what to say. I didn't expect to be called Krampiss.
Yeah, the Krampiss was a that took a turn into Krampiss.
Yeah,
I'm not expecting that.
No,
just something to think about. You might be. So anyway, my idea for a product is we should franchise you as the new evil, scary thing in the night, the thing that goes bump in the night.
How do I advertise that? Do I just is that on my I'm the thing in the night on my Twitter bio? Hire me? Like what do I
maybe I don't know. Maybe we could write a book about it, or we make a movie, and you could be like maybe it's a movie franchise like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. It's Nightmare on Elm Street, very cerebral. You're a smart guy. Maybe you're like the new Freddy Krueger. It works better as a psychological horror when you only hear of Andrew whispered in the dark. When you see him, it takes a bit of the fear away.
Boo! I emerge from the darkness.
Yeah, it should be someone that you never see but only hear about.
Here's what I'm trying to do for you, Andrew. I'm trying to make you more than a man. I'm trying to make you mythical. I want the name Andrew Panton or whatever we end up calling you, like Andrew the Piss Perv or whatever it is. I want it to live beyond your lifespan.
The Piss Perv. I feel like myths and legends are never man-made. They always come after. You can't try and become a myth. You are just mythical.
Something I left out of the Garfield story. When the Garfield thing came out, it was on the subreddit for where I live. And one of the comments was, I was this guy's childhood best friend. I know that guy. He definitely is from where the article was published. And I thought, I don't know who this person is, so I messaged them. We had a conversation. They were genuinely my childhood best friend, who I hadn't spoken to in like 11 years. And that was a really, I didn't expect Garfield to take me there. That's a very weird conversation to know someone for so long, but also, not know who they are anymore. I knew all the information of the person, but had no concept of who they were. That was a very...
But how did you, in what way had you forgotten about them? You forgot their name? Or you were like, no, it's that person's name?
No. They had a username, so I didn't know who their name was. I completely was aware of everything.
And how did you drift apart? Did you piss on his leg or something?
Yeah, it was a really unfortunate accident. He called me Krampiss. I got a little aggressive.
All right, I think you're being a little serious. Obviously, Andrew's not going to pee on somebody's leg. What I assume is that you got caught watching his mom pee.
And then you didn't warn him that he was going to walk through it.
When I told the peace story, I really didn't. It's not worth the juice. Was not worth the impact of this. This is a thing that is stuck around. The story wasn't. Jeff, I don't call you the fucking grill master. You told an average barbecue story, and we let it go. We let it pass.
You got to introduce the next faces. P-Boy and Grill Master.
The worst duo.
I had no idea when you divulged your piss obsession that it was going to turn into such material.
See what you've done here, Andrew. You've given him a nibble, and he's taken it, and he's reeled you in. Well, I guess you gave him a nibble. So what you got to do around Jeff is never let on. Like the fact that he knows that it's affecting you.
Yeah,
that will last. It won't last forever because his memory's shit, and he'll just drift away and forget it eventually. But that will last at least 6 episodes, I assume.
What other perversions are you into right now, Andrew?
Well, you said you had a product, and I said that I had a product.
Yes.
I wanted to share as well. Mine is actually a product. I don't think we could really sell the thing that
sell the franchise rights to make movies and books and like dinnerware and
I'm not talking about Piss Boy and Grill Master. That's obviously a multi-film franchise. I wouldn't discredit that. It's your whole Krampiss angle. I don't think is hard to sell. We can't travel right now.
All I'm saying is I think people in Vancouver Island are terrified of you.
I don't know about that.
I think you're a supervillain and you don't know it.
I don't know about that.
By the way, your intro of this podcast, pathetic, by the way, because you didn't introduce it as Piss Boy and Grill Master. I'm just saying. That was the promise from last week that has not come to fruition.
Here's the problem with doing 2 episodes back to back and then taking a week off is I have no fucking memory of what we did last time. That might as well have been in 2018.
Why did you bring up Piss Boy, Gavin? He forgot about it. Why did you bring it up? I was in the clear.
I did. I forgot about Piss Boy.
Dude, I originally predicted he would forget in 6 episodes. It took him 1 or 2.
We're definitely taking another 2-week break after this.
Andrew, I'm sorry about that.
Thank God Gavin is always there to remind me. You would recognize it as a PHP BB forum, but today the kids use something called Discord. You're probably not familiar with that, Gavin, because you're so old. Andrew, what I think you should do is you should create a private Discord server with an ominous name, or maybe even no name, or a Krampiss, or Piss Boy Incorporated, whatever your favorite nickname is right now, and send out an invite to all those 1,000 people, and that's it.
I just never even enter.
Check in 1 week and see what happened.
Can I create a Discord, then leave the Discord, and then invite people to that Discord? Because that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But then what do we get out of that? We don't know how it ended.
We know in our heart it's going to be good. We don't need to know the result.
We'll know what happens when Andrew checks in a week, and then he sits here for 45 minutes and reads this funny shit.
There will be a post on the subreddit. We'll know about it. It'll be just like the first thing. It'll be a continuation.
I do like the idea of you inviting everyone to a Discord and none of them know why they're there.
Yeah.
They're all wondering what it is.
It's a great social experiment. You just put 1,000 random people in a room together and see what happens.
It's like a battle royale, but they're all confused. There's no violence.
It's a battle royale that they don't know they're playing.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be a battle royale? Why can't it be like a book club?
Well, because I don't know. When I think of a bunch of people dropping in suddenly to a thing, I think battle royale. That's just where my head works.
We could definitely do this, and you could report back next week or the week after on what they ended up talking about.
Yeah. How about this? We drop them in. You do the whole thing. We check back in a week, and then we can cut this thing I'm about to say out of the podcast if this is such a good idea. And then we'll come back in. But what if the point of it is to see who the last person in the room is? And like Battle Royale. And so when there's one person left in the Discord, or the last person to leave the Discord or whatever, or if it's not Discord, some other kind of forum, then we give them a present. Like, congratulations, you won, Andrew. You get a Piss Boy t-shirt.
Once again, though, oh, never mind. Sure. Perfect.
And then there is a point to it, and they just never knew.
So hat became a shirt.
The hat did become a shirt.
Yeah, so hold on. All right, coming back in, I'm assuming that idea, that little bit was cut because my idea was brilliant.
You're declaring that idea so good we had to cut it?
I don't want, it'll spoil the point of the thing. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Don't make any edits. It's fine. It was a great idea, Jeff.
I don't care. Do whatever the fuck you want.
And you guys had some great ideas last time we spoke about what I should do with the subreddit. That we were going to mess with the people in the subreddit what would be a good direction to go. And I didn't listen to any of your advice, really.
I could tell by the way you were...
You decided on a subreddit. You're doing that.
I made a Discord. That is correct. I went with the Discord angle. I didn't plan on interacting with it at all, really. I was just going to make a Discord because I really struggled with, I want to mess with these people, and I want to keep the Twitter conversations as genuine as possible. The people on Twitter don't necessarily want to be messed with. So I put the Twitter conversations on hold, and I focused purely on this Discord. And I just posted a link in the Discord, no context. About, 20 or so people joined into it. And then it just slowly progressed. So the first stage was I posted the 1-800 number for Dr. Pepper because I had a bottle on my desk. No reason, no explanation. Just posted it. They called it, and then I deleted it to make it seem sort of suspicious. The next day, I posted a random photo of a Donkey Kong character and another number, this time to the Pepsi 1-800 number. And they were very confused by this as well. Equal confusion, deleted it. They thought a mystery was going. I followed that up with, I thought, well, how can I mess with these people further? So I posted a riddle. And I had an answer to it, but I had no real plans for the riddle. It had an answer. It was silly. And they all went nuts for it. So then it turned into a week-long game, or weekend-long. I spent my entire weekend crafting more clues and creating more layers to this insane puzzle that made no sense. They started a cult. They referred to themselves as a cult, and they worshiped the Lord Krampiss, combining Jeff's genius of Krampiss and Piss Boy. I'm apparently Krampiss. And
like Krampiss?
Krampiss is my moniker that they're going for. And I'm going to share with you a file they made. This is the case file that they were using to solve these riddles. It's dense. I became a really shitty riddler, essentially, over the weekend. And I don't know how to necessarily tackle all this in a linear way. So feel free to ask any questions you may have.
Oh my god, it's literally Krampiss conspiracy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's thick. There's a lot of shitty riddles. And it went to some pretty ridiculous places.
Does it have like an end goal? Like, are you just sending them all around? Or
I made the first riddle and it had an answer, but I didn't plan on doing any other riddles. But they liked it so much, I thought, I'll just keep doing this. So it went on for a few days, and I just kept making stuff up.
It's 10 pages.
It's long. There are a lot of riddles. So after the first day, I thought, well, how can I escalate this? And I remembered I have that California number that I called Jeff a bunch with last time we recorded.
Yep.
And so I posted the number and said only one person would get through. And so I got a bunch of calls on it. And the guy, I answered, and there was quiet for like 3 seconds. And then he said, hello? He was so nervous. And I just started playing this random sea shanty. And it was just like, the herring is the king of the sea. The herring is the king of the sea. It went on for like 8 seconds. And he just went, what is going on? And then I hung up. And it was fantastic. It was wonderful. So yeah, I didn't do the puzzle thing, but instead I made a elaborate riddle filled with phoning thing. I bought a Swedish phone number that just happened to have a 666 in it. So that was amazing. They were calling all over different numbers from across the country.
Was it coincidentally a 666, or did you seek that out?
Yeah, I didn't seek that out at all. It was just a randomly given number to me.
You made a pointless ARG. You made an AR no G.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't, it was all online, obviously, but yeah, it got ridiculously elaborate. I used a Kangaroo Jack trailer. I made another Gmail account to leave comments on YouTube videos for them to find. It was ridiculous. They had no idea what was going on.
What's this Matt Bragg thing?
So that was another problem. Most of them didn't follow sports at all. And so I tried to leave clues that were sort of Rooster Teeth. It had nothing really to do with Matt Bragg. Matt Bragg happened to be born really close to where the actual answer of the riddle was.
Oh.
So that was the clue.
Teletubbies? The Heisenjake connection?
Yes! Oh, the Heisenjake connection was so good. So on the second day, I told them, because a bunch of my friends were also in this Discord, I told them that they had a snake in the grass. And they had to vote somebody out of the Discord. They had to try to figure out whoever was purposefully misleading them.
Jesus.
And so they were trying to figure out who it was. And after that process, I just thought, well, it'd just be funny to reveal other people. And Jake, who I've talked about quite a few times and pulled a lot of pranks on him, his alias is Heisenjake. And I remember, Jeff, in a video from like 5 years ago, a Batman Let's Watch, you say, I'm Heisenjake, doing the Batman voice. And so I dug that up, and I had somebody else say, I just found this, what does it mean? And they posted it, and everybody freaked out. They had no idea how to take that information, and then I immediately banned Jake.
That it was me saying I'm Heisen Jake?
It was you saying you were Heisen Jake. And it's such an obscure, like, weird joke. They didn't know how to take it. I banned him so he couldn't reply, so it looked like he fled immediately, and it was ridiculous.
Who's Denise?
Denise, that's Denise is funny. Denise is Jeff's daughter, Millie. She was voted out.
Oh, shit!
They kicked Denise out, aka your daughter. They thought that she was suspicious, and she was the person who was removed.
So my daughter was the person that got voted out from the group.
Yes, that was who they assumed the spy was.
I gotta say, you guys, I knew that you guys were up to something because Millie she was giggling the other night talking to you. I didn't realize that she was involved in this. That's very fucking funny. She kept it quiet the whole time. She never mentioned anything to me.
Maybe she was embarrassed she got kicked out.
She was not thrilled. I didn't consider that she could rejoin from an old invite, so they voted her out, and then I told her, oh, you got voted out. I'm sorry that happened. And she rejoined like an hour later. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how dare you? And they didn't know how to take that either. It was great. This added to the confusion.
How many people ended up in this Discord?
I'd say there were probably between 15 to 20 that didn't know anything, that were along for this ridiculous ride.
So where did it end? Or is it still in progress?
No, they solved it on Monday. So I guess it started like Friday night, and they solved it near the end of the day on Monday. But it was insane.
How did they solve it?
The riddle had an answer.
And what was the answer to the riddle?
Sonny Jurgensen. He is this old retired Washington Redskins quarterback that did commentary for them. And it was an inside joke between a friend and I. She'd be driving home, and all she'd get is that radio feed. And Sonny Jurgensen is kind of a legend for that team. But he would do commentary, and he was completely useless. He wouldn't really say anything. He'd just stare out the window, and his insights would be like, can't give Tom Brady the ball. And that's all he'd say for like a quarter. And so we loved him because he was a ridiculous character. So that was the answer was always Sonny Jurgensen, but everything along the way was just made up as far as where I'd go and the phone numbers. And
I'm sure that was incredibly unsatisfying to solve.
Yeah, how bummed were they?
No, they were pretty, here's the thing. It's kind of hard to convey, but they were fully invested in this, and they're phoning numbers. The journey was a lot of fun. They had a good time solving that aspect of it. And there were so many coincidences that made it look like I was way smarter than I intended. Like, I was trying to get them to look at a specific NFL draft to figure out the riddle, and I put Stern in, referencing the NBA commissioner, but they interpreted that as Howard Stern because you had mentioned it on a previous episode, Jeff. And so I tried to redirect them, and they just started looking into the NBA commissioner, and it turns out he has two sons, one named Andrew, one named Eric, which I had no idea about. And they're like, that motherfucker.
Do you mean David Stern?
Yeah.
God rest his soul. He passed earlier this year, but yeah.
Yes.
He really has sons named Eric and Andrew. That is fucking unbelievable.
So, so it was like they were in an escape room, but it was like mutating and evolving as they got stuff wrong. I feel like that's quite cool.
It was.
I'm just keep looking through. What's the Teletubby saga?
Oh, well, his name's Sonny. So I was trying to get people to think that was the clue for that.
What's that got to do with Teletubbies?
I posted the name of the baby who was in Teletubbies in a scrambled way that they had to figure out. And once they solved it, then they thought it had some deeper Teletubby connection. But I was just trying to illustrate Son.
That baby had a name?
The baby was a person. Gavin, yeah. Turns out they existed.
Well, yeah, it was like twin girls, wasn't it?
I think her name is Jess Smith. I don't know if she is a twin. I didn't look that deep into it. But that was the Teletubby saga.
All right, so then they solved the Sonny Jurgensen. Was that his name, Jurgensen?
Yes.
They solved the Sonny Jurgensen saga mystery, and then what is their reward? You just explain to them, I was just fucking around. Listen to Face tomorrow, it'll make sense.
Yeah, well, sort of. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't like a prize reward because I was making it up as I went the entire time.
Yeah.
It was just sort of, it started as a joke. It's not like they were upset by it. I think it was more of, they were so invested in this thing, and it was so funny for them to hear how much of it was just me making stuff up as I went.
So what happened to the Discord server? Did you keep it up, or is it gone?
It's up right now, but I'm going to delete it, I think, at the end of the week.
What a not face. That turned out to be a really cool thing.
Dude, so what's with the Ian shit?
Yeah, can you explain?
Okay.
Is it time for Ian? We're already kind of at the end of this episode.
Well, I have one hell of a great face story. So I don't know. Can I fit two in? Ian thing I don't think is that long. The other one, I don't know. Okay. So when we're doing the court case, right? And Jeff and I both came up with our joke pieces of evidence where it was just splices of audio put together to make a singular statement.
Yes, one of us did an excellent job with that.
I think we both did. But when I went to do that, I thought, I'm going to need to source words. This is going to be a lot of work. The more people I can get working on this, the easier it'd be. And it's also just fun to involve the community and stuff. So I tweeted, if you are an Achievement Hunter fan and also have a Discord, let me know. I have a project you could work on. Did not anticipate the response. It was very overwhelming. There were like 300 people requesting invites within the first hour. And I was just inviting people away. I had one friend in there, and they were reporting me the chaos that was happening. And I guess what had happened is 2 of the people had the same name of Ian, and then they thought it would be funny as a joke if they all called themselves Ian, so it'd be harder for me to address specific people, from my understanding. And at that point, I just thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to communicate to get there's just a chaos. So I just killed the server, and then they made their own server and invited a bunch of people to it, and they became the Ians, and I joined as a joke, and I said, tell me who is the original Ian. He revealed himself, and then I blocked him on Twitter and said, I killed your god, and I left. And I kind of expected it to end there, but they just kept growing. And then I'd see their posts on the subreddit, on the Rooster Teeth subreddit, and it became like a whole thing. So then I joined them, and because there's also a Krampiss Discord, and I thought they need to merge somehow. So I came into the Ian Discord, and I declared a Garfield cart competition. Both sides would have to nominate a champion.
An Ian?
An Ian, yeah. Whoever wins gets to keep their server. Loser has to delete their home. You can merge, obviously. There can be an alliance afterward, but there's no need for 2 servers. So there was a Garfield cart battle between the Ians and the Krampisses. That was very that was very fun to observe. All the while this was happening, I just made a 3rd Discord because I thought this is sort of insane. There should just be a face Discord. So I started that, and they've since merged. I had 2 people, one from each of the Discords come in. They did a wonderful job. The face Discord is way nicer than it should. It is beautiful. They did such a great job. They're incredibly thoughtful people. And so, yeah, they had their tournaments. The Ians lost, but then everybody merged, and the Ians are done.
I love the kind of people that it attracts. Like the face audience is perfect because they immediately start facing you back by doing the whole Ian thing. It's really like it's magical synergy.
It was very confusing.
You're supposed to let these things happen naturally, and I'm not trying to gently nudge, but I wonder if the face community wants to be labeled as something like face fuckers or fuckers, or
I think in the Discord they're referred to as fuckers.
Fuckers is cool, or Ians, or like.
I think fuckers is better than face fuckers. I don't think anyone. The face fucker is
fuck Andrews or like whatever.
Nah, it's not a good one either.
You don't like face fuckers?
No, I don't. I'm not a big fan.
I'm imagining a very different scene from Alien.
Oh my god.
So that's the Ians. I feel like I covered it.
Okay, yeah. I'm glad I'm in the know.
I zoned out for some of it, but I'll go back and re-listen to this.
What are you doing?
I don't know. It was droning on about. I missed the part where the name Ian was a thing. I
feel like that was a 90-second explanation.
Do you want us to make these episodes shorter, Jeff?
Oh, the fucking ghost guy in the road with his 4-minute story about having an ear infection. I was there for all of that, Jeff. You can't give me 90 seconds to answer a question you asked me. I didn't bring up the Ians. You asked it.
I'm not any happier about it than you are, Andrew. I'm also annoyed. I still don't know what the goddamn Ians are. I know that there was a Garfield tournament, and I know that the face community is nicer than the Ian community, and that they had a baby or they merged or something. But I don't know why. And then you banned an Ian, and then that Ian's not allowed to be your friend on Twitter
no, that's never
or something.
Happened.
Andrew, he doesn't talk to you all week. He listens to you one time.
I just lost the plot when you were explaining the Ian part. That's all.
It wasn't a depth plot is the problem. If it was complicated, there weren't layers.
I'll go back and listen to the episode later.
You're not going to, though. No way.
Gavin, why are they named Ian? Why do they call it Ian?
Don't tell them. It's already been explained. We don't need to do this.
Yeah, I feel like that's on you now, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree. I listen, I'm not mad at Andrew. I don't think he did anything wrong. I'm mad at myself and my goddamn inability to pay attention long enough. I was lost in my head. I was thinking about other stuff.
Were you getting pushed over slowly? Is that what was happening?
No, I wasn't.
What were you thinking about, if I may ask?
I don't know.
Great.
I distinctly remember. I distinctly remember at one point going, "Oh shit! I think he just explained the Ian thing," and I dropped that. I wonder if I can figure it out from context clues as the rest of the explanation goes. And then I tried. I paid double attention for the second half. I just missed the first part.
But then you were thinking about paying attention over the top of actually paying attention. It's like sometimes when you're listening to a podcast or something, but you get a message or you read something at the same time and you don't take it in. So then you wind it back, but then you do the same thing again that makes you miss it again. And it's like, oh, forget it.
All the time. Yeah. That's essentially what happened. And it's not Andrew's fault in any way whatsoever. I accept responsibility for my addled brain.
Are you offended, Andrew? You offended by that?
No, I'm not offended. If he's taking responsibility, I have no issue with that. It was just funny. It's also a very self-explanatory explanation for the name, which makes it funnier.
Yeah, it's very simple. Yeah, not complicated at all.